Hey everybody, Steve from Flite Brothers here, and today I'm doing a quick unboxing review of the brand new RunCam Swift FPV camera. I want to thank RunCam for sending it to us to review, and we know it's going to be a great product like RunCam usually are. This again is the model Swift. It's a 1/3 Sony Super HADC CD 600 TVL camera. Accepts DC voltage of 5 to 17 volts with a 2.8mm lens. This is pretty much, according to RunCam, the same thing as the popular Sky Plus camera, which is the PZ0420 camera. But it's a smaller form factor, so we're going to take a look at it now. One thing I always love about RunCam products is their packaging. It's a nice solid box. We know the product is very well protected inside there. So I'm going to pull it apart. Let's see what we got here. Alright, so inside a nice foam packaging. Here, first thing we see is the camera. Really nice, small form factor. Basically about the same size as the HS1177 camera. Just a few differences. This is got a brand new kind of a mount to it, which has some extra material on the end where some screws would go in on the new mount, and we'll check that out in a minute. But let's keep going from here. I'm gonna pull this foam out. This next package, and we'll see what we've got in here. We've got a couple of packages, one with the mount, and looks like a spare back for the camera. Interesting. And oh, neat. Didn't expect that. I actually have a couple different mounting options that it comes with. Let's take a look at that first. I know everybody's interested in that. So this is pretty cool. I did not know this, but it actually comes with two different mounting options. The first mounting option is this bracket. Very similar to the bracket for the HS1177, which looks like that. Most of you probably have seen that before. This is just a little bit different, a little more material to it. But it's got just the one hole, which these pivot points would snap into. And then I believe there are some screws. Yeah, there'll be some screws that go right in those holes in that slot, and that allows you to tip it to an angle and lock it in really strong. If any of you have ever used the HS1177, you know the idea is to just tighten the screws that go into this pivot point. And most of the time you really can't get it to lock in where it's going to stay there no matter what. And I feel like this is going to lock really well. Does it add a few grams? Yeah, probably, but it's a nice mount. The one thing I do notice right off the bat though is you can only get about, let's see, yeah, it looks like you can get a good 45, maybe even almost, about 45 degrees is the max on that, which is, you know, pretty good for most pilots, but there's a lot of pilots out there going a little farther than that, up to 60, even sometimes a little more. So if you're looking to go a little higher than 45 degree angle on your FPV camera, this mount's not going to do it for you. This does come with a second type of mount, which I did not expect, but that's pretty cool. We've got a little mounting bracket here, and this, which appears as it goes, it locks right into, that's nice. Would lock right into that. So this has a little, I don't know if you can see it. You can see it there. There's a little teeth in there, and that's going to line right up with this lock ring on the lens, and they're going to allow it to stay right in place. I've seen a lot of other similar mounts that don't have really a good way other than just a little pressure to keep that in place. So this is nice, and really, yeah, that doesn't go anywhere once that's tightened on there. That's cool. And I guess there would be, here's some hardware here. There's some screws for going into the pivot points, some other stuff, and I'm sure one of those would go right into here with a nut so you can tighten it down. Again though, just out of curiosity, doesn't seem very tall. Let's just see. If I lock that on there, yeah, see, if I lock that on there, kind of interesting. Once that is locked on there for your mount, you really got no room to pivot that at all. So that's strange. I guess you can, if this was hanging, I guess if it was hanging from the top, you can pivot it a little bit. But if you were mounting this on the bottom, it actually is not going to go tip up at all. So I guess this is going to have to be a hanging mount if you're going to angle it at all, because 0 degree is pretty useless. All right, so that's the mounts that it comes with. And got a couple different cables. Here is a cable for powering and testing it out. So you've got your video power and ground cable with a barrel plug for power and a standard RCA plug for video going out to a TV. And then they give you another plug which has a micro JST connector with the 3-pin that goes in the back of the camera, and then your video plug and your power plugs. It's nice that those are separated. Most cameras come with a triple plug there that are all the same, and they're not always going to go to the same place, so it's kind of nice that they separate it there. And of course your OSD controller. One thing I love about the RunCam as opposed to the HS1177 is that it has a separate plug for the OSD, and you don't need to, like the HS1177, you need to unplug, plug the OSD in, and then plug the video out into the OSD board, where these have a completely separate OSD port, so you don't have to unplug anything. You can just plug this in, hit the button, and go ahead and adjust your settings, and when you're done, unplug it. But there is one problem that I see with this that's a little unfortunate. With these cameras, and the way these get mounted, and the HS1177 makers like Foxeer and other places that are making them, no, they're probably all made by the same person, but anyway, they've caught on. But this, I'm a little concerned about this bottom connector. Okay, a lot of the HS1177s nowadays have the connector up on the top. So if you go ahead and tip this 45 degrees, take a look at how tight that is to get those cables in there. There's just not that much room. They're going to be angled over and wonky. But if the connectors on the top, like a lot of the HS1177s nowadays are, then you can very easily access them without worrying about having enough room for your wires and if they're going to get crunched in there or anything. So I really wish they would have took a page out of the HS1177's book and moved that connector to the top. It probably is just a matter of mounting the sensor on the board the other way around, and it's probably not that big a deal, but unfortunately they went with the bottom connector, and I think that's a bit of a downfall for this. If I was going to choose between the top connector HS1177 and this camera here, I would have to go with the top connector every time. Nevertheless, I'm sure this is going to be great video quality. I'm actually going to send this over to Rich. He's going to mount it onto a Z Quad, and you can check that out. There's some videos, and he's had some other posts on Facebook and things about a Z Quad, which is a Flite Test Versa quad in a really unique configuration. But he's going to put this on there. I've got an HS1177 on my X210, and we're going to do some comparison videos to see how the two compare in the FPV feed, and we'll get back to you with that as soon as we can. So again, I want to thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy our channel and would like to see more, and continue to support us. We just thank you so much for watching.